Hello, I'm Duenas. Welcome to my show. Today we'll be talking about the American Dream, and we have three special guests. So our first guest is the modern kid, Danielle Harris. Excuse me, Miss Harris. Why do you think it took women so long to become somewhat equal to men?
Well, I think it took a long time because it took a while for men to even listen. If we were to look at Abigail Adams' letter to her husband, she asked him just to have more of an input in the growing of America, and he didn't even listen. There was a really long time before there was even a budge in women's equality, and I think that's why it took such a long time.
Next question. Referring back to Abigail Adams' letter to John Adams, how has the role of women changed from the 1700s to contemporary society today?
Well, back in the 1700s, women were expected to basically cater to the needs of their husbands and their kids. They weren't allowed to add any input in anything they wanted to do. They were just expected to stay home, cook dinner, keep their husbands happy and everything. Whereas today, women have a huge impact in our world. We have new women scientists and they're creating inventions, and it's not just the idea of the only thing women are able to do is withhold a household and keep it upkeep in household. Now women can have the ability to make an actual impact in the world.
Third question. Do you think the government's decision concerning the U.S. portrays the Founding Fathers' image?
I feel like the founding fathers didn't have any idea of what kind of America we would live in today. They had no idea we'd have so many mixtures of cultures and types of people. I think the general idea, sort of, that you can come to this place and make a name for yourself is very alive today. However, I don't think they completely thought about everything about the potential within the country. I think that they might not be happy because their idea of the American dream was more based on keeping old rich white men happy. But the idea that you can come here and be free and make your own decisions, I think that's very alive today in today's society.
Final question for you, Ms. Harris. How has Equiano's experience of being a slave impacted your understanding of modern life in the U.S. today?
Reading about Equiano's experience taught me a lot about how many hardships there were back in the late times in which we had slavery. It helped me understand that we have come a long way in America as far as equality and everything like that. I have more of appreciation towards modern day society because I'm able to do what I want when I want it. No one has to own me or anything like that, and I'm very grateful for that. I still see a lot of improvements, but Equiano's journey and experiences help me understand how far we've come and how awful things were back then and how much better they are today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Next on the show, we will be video chatting with Junelle Dizon so she can answer some questions I have for her. First question. How have you seen the process of immigration change from the time of Ellis Island and now?
The immigration process has not drastically changed since the 1700s. An immigrant like myself coming from the Philippines, I had experienced a very similar process to what the Southern Europe immigrants had to go through in order to travel to America. My family and I had to go through an interview which is very similar to the legal inspection back in Ellis Island, and we had to pay a visa fee, and we had to go through a medical evaluation in order to be permitted to travel to America.
Next question. How does the stereotypical American dream act as a pro factor for immigrants?
The stereotypical American dream acts as a pull factor because it gave people the idea that if they moved here, they would have a better life since it's considered the land of opportunity. Immigrants back in the 1700s and today share the same dream and are attracted to the same pull factor. The stereotypical American dream is the main pull factor for Americans. The stereotypical American dream is the main pull factor for all immigrants.
Would you add anything to the Constitution in order to fix some of the political issues today?
The ongoing war in Iraq is an example of a political issue present in our nation today. The law that states that the government shall not make any significant decisions that will affect the nation without a majority vote amongst the citizens, for instance, declaring a war. Since we do live in a democracy, I feel that we should have a say in the decisions that they make for our nation. If we add that to the Constitution, we'll be able to have more power to fix political issues we have today and act as a stronger democracy.
Based on the founding fathers' idea of the American dream in the 1700s, how has the idea evolved over time?
The founding fathers strongly believed in the pursuit of happiness, life, and liberty. However, in the modern society, the American dream has been transformed into this idea of gaining prosperity through hard work and dedication. The media today definitely plays a significant role in the stereotypical American dream. The media tells us that money is the key to the American dream. A lot of people today strive for wealth and material they see in superstars and athletes. Society today tells us that if you work to the extent of your ability, then you will get rewarded for it. If you don't work hard, then you get nothing and you don't experience the American dream.
The final guest on the show is the founding father, James Madison. We're going to travel back in time to view his thoughts on the American dream. What aspects of America and the newly written Constitution do you think will set it up for success?
What aspects of America and the newly written Constitution do you think will set up for success? The idea of divided powers between national and state government are aspects of America and the newly written Constitution that I think will set up for success. Are there any improvements you'd like to see or disagreements you have with the government this far? Some disagreements I have on the government are how we own slaves. I think that owning slaves is very injustice-like. I feel that if anyone lives in America, anyone who lives in America deserves to have equal rights. What goals do you have for America in 100 years? In 100 years, I imagine that America will still have a strong government. I imagine that the slaves will be freed and have equal rights. As well as women, I hope that they will have equal rights. I hope that the men will look past the differences between females and males. I hope to see women and men working together in the future, working in jobs, serving in the military, being able to vote, all kinds of things that men are able to do. I hope that women will do.